पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
Gurubhyo Namaha. Now we will continue with chapter 2 Sankhya Yoga, verses 56 and 57. The essence of Maharishi's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतराग भयक्रोधः स्थितभी मुनिः उच्यते। यः सर्वत्र अनभिस्नेहः तत् प्राप्य शुभाशुभं न अभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Here is the English translation. He whose mind is unshaken in the midst of sorrows, who amongst pleasures is free from longing, from whom attachment, fear and anger have departed, he is said to be the sage of steady intellect. I repeat again. He whose mind is unshaken in the midst of sorrows, who amongst pleasures is free from longing, from whom attachment, fear and anger have departed, He is said to be a sage of steady intellect. Next, he who has no undue fondness towards anything, who neither exults nor recoils on gaining what is good or bad, his intellect is established. I repeat again. He who has no undue fondness towards anything, who neither exults nor recoils on gaining what is good or bad, his intellect is established. Now let us go back to verse number 55, where we left off, where Bhagavan has said, when a man completely casts off all desires that have gone deep into the mind, O Partha, when he is satisfied in the self through the self alone, then it is he who is of steady intellect. So here we have understood that the basis of the steady intellect is the practice of transcending relativity and the realization of the being in transcendental consciousness or in cosmic consciousness. Here in verse 56, a sage or a muni is defined in this verse. Sthitadhir munirichyate. And who is this sage of steady intellect? So this muni or the sage of steady intellect is one who quite naturally maintains balance of mind while he continues to act in the field of relative existence. Now it is important to understand that Bhagavan does not provide any signs of an objective nature, but he simply describes the subjective aspect of a man of steady intellect. Now Bhagavan is saying, he whose mind is unshaken in the midst of sorrows, and he who amongst pleasures is free from longing. Again, who amongst pleasures is free from longing. Let us see how these sorrows arise in the mind and in the heart. Sorrows arise in the mind through want of understanding. When one understands only so much and no more of life, a lacking vision of the whole span of life, then one feels sorrow. But the man who understands both the unchanging eternal face of life and the unending nature of the ever-changing cycle of life and death will recognize the ephemeral nature of sorrow and not be overwhelmed by it. So here we understand that to rise above the sorrow arising in the mind, one has to be able to understand both the unchanging eternal face of life and the unending nature of the ever-changing cycle of life and death. Then one recognizes this ephemeral nature of sorrow and not be overwhelmed by it. Now the feeling of sorrow in the heart is distinct from the mind. It is different and distinct from the mind. It is due to lack of fulfillment, lack of love, lack of happiness. When one gains or experiences bliss through transcendental meditation, then this experience of bliss fills the heart and brings eternal contentment and it leaves no room for any negative emotion, for sorrows, for depression, fear, or the like. Neither does it leave room for waves of joy or other positive emotions, because the heart is by nature full and contented. So again, it is the nature of the heart to be full and contented. One who has not experienced this transcendental consciousness is not aware of this heart being full and contented. This awareness is on the experiential level. It is not on the intellectual level. One experiences the heart full of bliss. And then there is no room for either the negative emotions nor for the positive emotions. So then one is free from longing, and in whom attachment, fear, and anger have departed. For example, this is like the heart of a grown man, remaining unaffected by the toys which create great emotions in the hearts of children. Now, seeing how the mind is gaining the contentment, the mind which has gained the state of bliss consciousness through transcendental meditation remains naturally contented on coming out from the transcendental state to the field of activity. For example, it is like a millionaire who has great wealth who remains unaffected by the rise and fall of the market. This contentment, being grounded in the very nature of the mind, does not allow the mind to waver and be affected in pleasure and pain, or allow it to become affected by the attachment of the world or fear in the world. Then, this natural equanimity of the mind, even while it is actively engaged, is the state of steady intellect. Further, the experience of transcendental consciousness raises man's consciousness to a level where he finds his self completely separate from all activity, and naturally his values will change. The values of life are different at different levels of evolution. That is why, when the normal behavior of a man of steady intellect, established on the level of divine consciousness, is seen from the ordinary level of human consciousness, it appears different and more than normal. It is unshaken by pleasure and pain, fear and anger. And this is what Bhagavan is referring to as Sthitadhir Munirichyate, that he is the sage of steady intellect. Now, the basis of such a detached state of life is explained in the next verse. Bhagavan is saying, he who has no undue fondness towards anything, who neither exalts nor recoils on gaining what is good or bad, his intellect is established. Here Bhagavan is saying that the man whose mind is established in the unity of bliss consciousness knows by experience that his self is separate from all activity. He acts in the field of relativity, but experience cannot make any deep impression. Again, he acts in the field of relativity, but experience cannot make any deep impression. This is why he naturally remains consistent in his outlook and behavior with others. Even while experiencing the diverse nature of the world. Here, Bhagavan wants to bring home to Arjuna that through the practice of transcendental meditation, the mind becomes infused with divine intelligence and bliss. Thereafter, even while one acts in the world, the state of equanimity is naturally maintained. This verse can never be interpreted in terms of mood making or of controlling the mind in an attempt to live evenness intellectually. It brings out that the man of steady intellect, by nature grounded in non-attachment. Many a commentator upon this verse has introduced the idea that in order to achieve the state of established intellect, one should try to be dispassionate and detached. But in the field of behavior and experience, the strain of attempting to be dispassionate and detached, of trying to make a mood of equanimity in pleasure and pain, only puts unnatural, undue stress on the mind, and this results in the development of an unnatural and warped state of the inner personality. Further, this kind of practice will bring dullness, artificiality, and tension to life in the name of spiritual growth. In addition, it has spoiled the brilliance of many a genius in every generation for centuries past. As a consequence, there has grown a misconception in the intelligent levels of society throughout the world. And these intelligent levels of society in the world have come to fear spiritual life, which has gone so far that young and energetic people today find even discussion about spiritual practices embarrassing. Some other interpreters of this verse unfortunately have gone so far in misrepresenting the truth of this verse as to disapprove even of enjoying a flower in full bloom or rejecting a faded one. And this way of making life cold and devoid of heart has been recommended as a way of gaining established intellect. What a cruelty to life! If this is not enough, then one makes a mistake of copying the behavior of a realized man while remaining in the unrealized state. If a poor man puts up the sign of a wealthy man and tries to behave like one, this can only result in tension. By superficially copying the behavior of a rich man, he cannot possibly become rich. Similarly, the behavior of a man of steady intellect provides no standard for one whose intellect is not steady. If he just wants to copy and go that way, then his life will become cold, deprived of the qualities of heart and mind. This has been the destiny of many a sincere seeker of truth down the ages. Misguided interpretations of verses like this, which are found in almost all scriptures, are responsible for the spiritual plight of innumerable generations. Now Bhagavan is saying, one must not forget that there are two ways of life, that of a householder and that of a recluse. Men from both ways who meditate and arrive at the state of steady intellect will continue in their respective ways of life. The householder, by nature habituated to the field of activity, with all the diversity of phenomenal existence, continues to act in the world, and the recluse continues in his detachment from worldly affairs. So here they continue in their respective ways of life with steady intellect. Again, the state of steady intellect simply brings both of them fulfillment. They both rise above attachment and detachment, finding their life on the level of eternity, unbounded by any limitation of time, space, and causation, far above the boundaries of any social bond or obligation. Again, for both, life is one of cosmic consciousness. They are above the distinction of day and night, waking or sleeping, and they are established in the oneness of divine intelligence and bliss. And again, for both, this world of joys and sorrows of man's great enterprise and ambition is for them like a world of dolls and toys with which children play and amuse themselves. So the man of established intellect, whether one is a householder or a recluse, remains even and does not rejoice or recoil on gaining what is good or bad. When Bhagavan says, such a person has no undue fondness, again, such a person has no undue fondness, it means one is not too emotionally attached. But this does not imply that the man of established intellect is cold and without warmth of heart. On the contrary, he alone is a man of full heart. He is an unbounded ocean of love and happiness. His love and his happiness flow and overflow for everyone in like manner. And that is why he has no undue fondness towards anything. Now we have seen that in the previous verse, the detached and unshakable nature of the man is described. This detached and unshakable nature of the man is based on the principle of non-attachment. And how is this non-attachment coming? It is developing naturally with the growth of awareness of the self as separate from activity. This same natural state of non-attachment is at the basis of activity in the state of steady intellect, even when the senses remain withdrawn from their objects. And we will see this in the next verse. Here ends the essence of these two verses, 56 and 57, Chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, Maharishi's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Now I will add a few words. Now I would like to share something what Maharishi Ji has said about Brahmacharya and the sannyasi. You will understand fully how he upheld the status, this tradition, this sampradaya, because Maharishi himself is an ascetic and he fully knows the life of the recluse because he lived as such. His life when he was with Gurudev was that of a brahmachari and an ascetic. Here, Maharshi spoke at a press conference, at an Indian press conference on May 15th, 2003, and the title of it is Brahmacharya, a profession to get into the divine light. It's a natural trend of which one is born. So again, I will cover the essence. Maharshi Ji has said, in his great hurry to create a beautiful world, and in a hurry, he is creating a profession which has been the profession in India. And then he added, not only in India, it is also there everywhere. There have been people everywhere in India and elsewhere, those who were educated to get into the divine light, into the light of the divine, into the divinity of himself. People have called them saints, sannyasis, brahmacharis. They have this profession, and professionally they are motivated to themselves and motivated to know themselves. Such people are born with these tendencies. Nobody can make a sannyasi, nobody can make a saint, nobody can make a monk, nobody can make a brahmachari. They are either born with these tendencies or not born with these tendencies. They are different species. In the garb of human beings, they are different species, these saints and monks. Having had the taste of it, now he got alerted that when this profession is made lively in the world consciousness will have the influence of the liveliness of divinity. And this divinity or God consciousness is just life without boundaries. It is the total knowledge, lively in one single awareness, which is referred to as Aham Brahmasmi, I am the totality. I am the totality, the Brahman. This has been the exhortation of Vedic knowledge. Again and again, know your Atma, contemplate on Atma, see Atma with the eyes, hear Atma with the ears, make the transcendental a field of sensory perception. This means have the Atma in the terms of omnipresence, and then your awareness will be omniscient and your awareness will be omnipotent. And how do these monks and saints and brahmacharis maintain the physical body? They maintain by alms. Societies take care of them, feed them, and they are professionally motivated for no other temptations, for no other work but to unfold the divine within themselves. And this has been the tradition, and this is the tradition. So in India and the world, there had been ashrams, sannyasi ashram, brahmachari ashram, and there are also monasteries are there everywhere. So these sannyasis are there everywhere and the brahmacharis are there everywhere. Now they are becoming less and less because the education of the divinity in man, the knowledge of the divinity in man is not properly conveyed to the people. Maharshi further says, to such people, do not sell your life to someone, and hear in this, when you are unfolding your own inner divinity, you are the master of all the laws of nature. You are the Prakriti and the Purusha. You are Purusha, you are Brahmachari, you are lively, you have vitality, and vitality to move the whole world this way or this way. Move the whole physical creation in the evolutionary direction. So this is a whole different evaluation of life. Instead of being a servant to anyone, instead of being a slave to anyone, your most obedient servant, and just working for a few thousand rupees or dollars, do not sell your life to someone, but unfold your own inner divinity. Maharishi further said, this is your value of life. Have that value of life by inner unfoldment, or be a servant to anyone. You have a choice. Have the education as you have now, the education to become servants, or the Vedic education to rise to mastery over natural law, mastery over Prakriti, to rise as Purusha, to rise as Shiva, and be like lively Shiva. Vedic education is very clear. It is pertaining to knowledge. It trains the whole brain to function in every thought and speech and action. All speech, thought, action, behavior, everything depends on how much of the brain physiology you are capable of putting into action. And the whole of the Vedic education is to train your brain physiology, your physical value of the brain setup, so that spontaneously you command the total natural law. And that light of God, which is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and all of that. India's knowledge is knowledge of consciousness. Outside India, the education is to train the expression of consciousness, which is physiology. Vedic knowledge is to handle all of the consciousness, whereas the non-Vedic knowledge outside of India is to handle the expression of consciousness. And what is this expression of consciousness? It is the effect, whereas the whole of the consciousness or Atma is the cause. Atma vidam sarvam, know thyself. This is the exhortation of the Vedic knowledge. And then this puts the knowledge and action together by saying yogastaha kuru karmani, established in being, perform the action. Here in India, with the Vedic knowledge, it is dealing with the cause, dealing with the consciousness, Chetana. Bharat ka Vigyan, Chetana Vigyan hai. Science of India is science of consciousness, whereas science abroad is not the same. This pure knowledge is an eternal religion, Sanatana Dharma, and eternal means eternal in the field of time and present everywhere in the field of space. So, he asked the brahmacharis and the sannyasis, all of those who want to ride over the influence of time and place, those who want to be above the situations and circumstances, those who want to be the guiding light of situations and circumstances, they are welcome to join this new profession of self-illumination, self-enlightenment. Again, Maharshi Ji has said, I cannot make anyone a brahmachari. Either he is a brahmachari or he is not. Either he is a sannyasi or he is not. Just by putting the robe, and this is the work of the spice systems. Spice of every other country will change the robe here, there, but they will not create brahmacharis and sannyasis. This is a natural trend of which one is born. It is a natural trend with which one is born, and those who are born for this, here is the invitation for them to make a choice in their life. And he further said, don't waste life. Life is too precious to be wasted in the service of the people here and there. It is a waste of life. All other considerations are secondary. Primary answer is that the life is cosmically embedded in reality. Again, individual life is cosmically embedded in reality, and you make use of that. And Maharshi concludes by saying, having realized it, I have opened a new profession. And this new profession is in fact a very, very old profession, prevalent in every land in the name of religious life. Whosoever a man, to whatever religion he belongs, monkhood, sainthood, dedication to the supreme intelligence of nature, that is natural in some people. To those people, I want to give full assistance for them to be completely, one-pointedly focused in developing this omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence of the light of God. This Maharishi Ji has said it in 2003, and in February 2008 he attained the Mahasamadhi Brahmaleen. Now I am a Purna Sannyasi, and I also share the thoughts and the sentiments of what Maharishi Ji has expressed. I would like to help these brahmacharis and the sannyasis to the extent possible and help them fulfill their purpose for which they are born. Because they are born with these tendencies, they are not born to be a householder. So they are born with the sole purpose of being self-realized and be Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. They are invaluable in maintaining the harmony and peace in this world. Ahimsa, Abhaya and Karuna, these are the three pillars for a Purna Sannyasi. Ahimsa is non-violence, Karuna is compassion, and Abhaya is giving protection to all the beings. It is important to find these people and help them realize their full potential with this, for the purpose of which they are born. Now they have become less and less because the education of the divinity in man, the knowledge of the divinity in man is not properly conveyed to the people. So it is my sincere hope that listening to this Bhagavad Gita, one will look at everything in a different perspective and uphold this tradition, the sannyasa tradition, and the sannyasi ashram and the brahmachari ashram. I will stop here. Jai Gurudev, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu.